Hi, Alessio. Welcome. Hello.
Ciao, everybody. Thanks for having
Hi.
me here today.
Alessio is the Chief Brand Officer of Valentino and is part of the Executive Committee since March 2020, in charge of developing the brand experience, communication, and image strategy, working closely with the creative director and the CEO. Vannetti globally leads different areas, including the entertainment industry, press office, events, graphic department and production, archive, media plan, social media, digital marketing and production of brand experiences, and contents for clienteling activities.
I'm not so sure that I ever listed what I'm doing. I was a little bit impressed by the list, but thank God with during the next hour I will clarify that it's really organic and it could be impressive. So I don't.
Actually, it's a quite impressive list of duties, responsibilities. Prior to this, Alessio's role was as Worldwide Communication Director at Gucci and Ermenegildo Zegna. And from 2005 till 2013, he was Worldwide Senior Press Officer Manager and Head of Special Projects for Prada. And his debut in the fashion scene dates back to the early 2000s. When Alessio joined Costume National and later the Van Kim agency. Today, Mr. Vannetti will be interviewed by Caterina Lunghi. Caterina is a long-time Domus Academy collaborator. She is a journalist and she is a project manager at Rizzoli, Milano, which is an international unit of Rizzoli.
So thank you so much, first of all, for accepting our invite. So Alessio, what do you do? What do you do on your daily basis? And also, why Valentino wanted you?
Okay, why Valentino wanted me? We should ask to Pierpaolo and Jacopo and all the people that they have hired me in the last months. But I mean, it's again, I think that first of all, perhaps the chief brand officer could be associated in other companies to a chief marketing officer. What we were discussing during my interviews with Pierpaolo, because I mean, Pierpaolo and I know each other since a while, and during the interviews when he approached me for this job, we discussed the fact that in the reality, marketing in fashion is really strictly connected with creativity and merchandising. So, I mean, perhaps in a different industry, being a chief marketing officer means something. In the fashion system, in our opinion, it's much more a brand a brand job, so to speak. And you have listed all the activities that they are under me. And as I said, I really like the fact that what we are producing is basically based on the brand values and on the ambition of the brand from a creative perspective and a merchandising perspective. So when with the same passion and with the same, let's say, devotion, what me and my teams are doing is in a moment dealing with press, for instance, producing events or working on digital marketing regarding CEO and SEM research or retargeting and et cetera, and all the activities that usually we are building for the lower part of the funnel, so to speak, while with another part of the team, we are working with the top part of the funnel, so building, let's say, the brand reputation from a pure image perspective, working closely with Pierpaolo in advertising campaign, fashion show projects, creative projects, and so on. And it's always a matter of I mean, it's a serious, in a way, it's a very hard job, and but at the same time, it's very, what can I say? It's full of beauty, and it's full of it's bringing. It's a very important for us, at least, to bring to life our company values. So it's which is basically my role. So I mean, again, you listed what I'm doing. I didn't even realize that that all those activities are part of my duties and responsibilities. But it's really organic. It's the way to build a brand, at least in our opinion, in 2021. It's much more a matter of listening the creativity, in this case Pierpaolo, listening our CEO and his vision, listening the merchandising team, and collecting all the information, and then working I mean, case by case with the other departments in order to develop the right product marketing strategy. And in this case, perhaps the word marketing is correct, because one of my teams is doing a huge job, an amazing job in putting together a calendar of activities in order to synchronize all the marketing activities and the communication activities when the products are coming to life, so to speak, when the collections will
Alessio,
be delivered.
you are doing a lot, because I saw with my own eyes. I had nice opportunity to collaborate with you and your team for a Collezione Milano book that we published in February. Actually, is worldwide now, and you do so many things, because the same day another book, The Alphabet for Kids and Adults, was publishing at the same time. So also to catch up on your Instagram is quite tough, because the activity that you guys produce is quite a lot and super fast, right? So
I mean, I don't know if we are producing a lot. Let's say that I mean, Instagram is, especially Instagram, because other social media are a little bit different, but it's the windows where we are perhaps we are putting all the activities and all the collections that we are producing. So all the projects are there in a way or in another. So, but you have what we have to always bear in mind, that some of those projects, like the one that I can see here, for instance, the collaboration with Bethany for the Alcove collection, is burning on, let's say, under a different light, and Instagram is just the one of the communication channel that is bringing the project to life. I mean, this project, for instance, is Bethany Vernon.
I have the book, Alessio, and Bethany is an alumni at Domus Academy. I think
she told me last night.
And we would love to also invite her. We have another talk series called Connecting the Dots, that also, Alessio, was actually your favorite titles.
Yeah, I mean, you're right. Thank you. I mean, you're right. Thank you, because I mean, this is exactly what we are doing as a team, is connecting. When I was talking about connecting the dots, I was thinking about all the dots that usually our creative director is sprinkling on a table during a meeting, or our CEO, or connecting also the dots that are coming from different departments, retail, merchandising, creative. And so when you connect all these little pieces, usually a wonderful puzzle is coming up. And but again, all these little pieces are, in my more than 20 years experience in fashion, they are always coming from creativity. And creativity means not just let's say, the designer or design office and so on. I mean, he's super creative when it comes to business. I mean, his own approach to business is fully innovative. I mean, I cannot share anything about something that we are doing from a pure business perspective here, because Jacopo joined the company last June 2020, and we are gonna share some something. I mean, we're gonna introduce his job very soon and his vision about the brand very soon. But I mean, it's super creative. I mean, the way is working in-house and with partners is definitely creative. I mean, and when you connect all these creative little pieces of the puzzle, usually a bigger picture is coming up, and it's super beautiful.
And also, Alessio, I was very impressed also about as you said, about the variety of the dots you are connected, not just in terms of let's say fields, but also in terms of people and targets. Because for me, and I cannot wait for the book, The Alphabet or Kids, for Kids and Adults. There are so many ideas with different, can we say, souls, like the book that we put together. The positioning is quite intellectual, high-end, with Liz Johnson Arthur, a black photographer from London, outside fashion, and
Bernardine Evaristo.
Then there is the book for kids that maybe is more playful, more easy. Then there is the Vlogo, right? Then there is the gaming on Instagram. Then there is sensuality and erotism with the Alcove bag and Bethany.
But in the reality, it's. I mean, I don't know if you. At the beginning of my presentation, there is a slide that is a quote from Pier Paolo that is saying that romanticism is a strength. Exactly. This is the quote from Pier Paolo. Everything that we are doing is definitely there in this. I mean, very, in a way, little sentence. But that's summarizing our vision and strategy. Because if you think about what we have done with all the talents that you have listed, or what we did recently with Bethany, yes, it's sensuality. You're right, because I mean, Bethany Vernon is definitely a super sensual woman, and her own personal history is talking about sensuality, and his book is talking about sensuality. I mean, the Boudoir Bible. But
sex guide.
Yeah, exactly. But
sex guide.
Having a sex guide is not something related with being romantic. I mean, last night I had a dinner with her because she was in Milano for a little event for our friends of the house, and I mean, and she told us how many people are approaching her in a therapist way, I would say, because I mean, it's we went through a lockdown, and so there is also some fears of getting back to a normal life, and having, let's say, a sex guide is something that that perhaps it could be helpful for people that they went through some, they've been scared by being isolated in their home for a while. So and everything that is happening for a reason. Bethany, and I'm talking about what's happening in our company. Bethany and Pier Paolo are friends since ever, from my understanding, because they know each other since 2001 or 2002, something like that. So it's almost 20 years that they know each other. What happened is very simple, is that there's been a moment in time where Pier Paolo was sharing with her the fact that we have celebrated 10 years anniversary of our Rockstad, a shoes and a bag that Pier Paolo created 10 years ago, no, sorry, 11 years ago. And it's undoubtable that our Rockstar shoes and Rockstar bag, the very first one, they do have a sort of, let's say, fetish attitude. They are definitely bourgeois punk accessories because of the stud and because of the Knit-and-Heel, the original one, and so on. But at the same time, it's undoubtable that these shoes are super sexy. And having this discussion with Bethany is also a designer. She's an art director. She has been the art director of Fornasetti for years. So, I mean, having this kind of conversation, they decided to work together to create a new project, updating and revamping our Rockstar shoes and bags. They became Rockstar Alcove. And Bethany designed our windows, design a special cover of her own book, design what we are seeing here. She designed she worked with our visual merchandising in introducing the bags and the shoes in the store. So she designed the tools in order to display what we are seeing here. So it has been an holistic approach. And then, because Bethany, she's also a performer, last night she came in Milano and she performed for a small group of our friends of the house at the Piccolo Teatro. That is one of our places.
You like a Piccolo, right, Alessio? Because also in February you organized there the ACT collection fashion show with Cosima.
Yeah, that is another. So we are going random to the presentation.
Yeah, sorry.
I know. I like that. I like that.
I'm connecting the dots.
Exactly. I hope people that they will get the sense, and it's perfect for me because yes, you're right, and this is getting back to our brand values. I mean, giving back or working on cultural projects is something that is definitely part of our DNA and what Pierpaolo and Jacopo would like to achieve. So Pierpaolo decided to present the latest collection in Milano at the Piccolo Teatro because I mean is like is totally into theaters and theaters.
Alessio, what should I do? Is at the end of the presentation? Should I go?
No. We can keep at the end of presentation. No,
but there are so many dots, right, to connect.
But I think that we can go to the next slide of the brand values, and just because I really would like to give you the sense of how things are happening because you have introduced my role listing what we are doing, and there were a lot of things. But for instance, here we have our face of Valentino. One of the two faces, we have Lady Gaga for fragrances, and we do have Zendaya, who's our face for the Pret-a-Porter collection. And the idea of working with her came up last year, obviously because of the success that she was having with their projects, but more importantly because Pierpaolo was reading all the interviews that she was giving to press about Euphoria, about other projects, and so on. And in each interview, what were coming, it was much more, first of all, values, and then my job. And he recognized himself, because more or less this is what Pierpaolo is doing in Valentino since ever. And again, brand values, if you want to go, keep going and stay here for 1 second. Brand values company values are coming first of brand values. So what everybody is seeing in the idea of working with Zendaya, or from that campaign, this is the self-portrait of the photographer that is a former model, Michael Bailey Gates, is always associated with our company values, and the company values are made by people, are made by Jacopo, by Pierpaolo, by me, by all the people who are working with me. And what we are doing in terms of collections, advertising campaign, projects, and so on, is just a reflection of what we think, of what we feel every day. I mean, Michael used to be a photographer, used to be a model, is now becoming a wonderful artist. And I mean, I think I'm allowed to say that because it has been published in some news, but he has been invited to run his own first solo exhibition about photography in a European museum. I cannot share which one in the upcoming months, but he will present one exhibition about his pictures in Europe very soon. And but he's also embodying, let's say, our definitely his own personal values. So, I mean, when you decide to work with people like Zendaya or Michael, you decide to embrace their own values first. And when their values are exactly the same values of the company values, you can cause a win-win effect. So we are not afraid about the fact that this picture caused a lot of homophobic reactions when it has been published. I mean, it has been painful, honestly, but we are not scared. We are not worried at all, because we know what we would like to do, and we know how important is for us to preserve our values and to preserve who we are, and to reflect who we are in the business that we are producing. I don't know if this is make any sense to you.
Yeah, and Alessio, it's very nice to hear that, because I think in the fashion industry, and not only, there is some confusion between values that people really feel and live, and marketing, right? Or let's think about sustainability. Sometimes you get very confused. Are they doing really something, or is this more a mirror for communication? So, and
I think that, I mean, the answer
in your case, I can really say, because I'm getting to know you and your teams, that you really feel what you are communicating and doing. So, right, Alessio, I can say that in my experience with you.
I think that, I mean, for me and the people who are working with me, but also for Jacopo and Pierpaolo, I think it would be very difficult to strategize tools like the picture of Michael, of working with Zendaya without having a deep relationship, a deep personal relationship with who they are and what they are embodying. I mean, Pierpaolo himself recently decided to stand behind this Italian law proposal called DDL ZAN. That is a law proposal against, I mean, is a law that basically is going to increase the charge if you are committing something that is related to being homophobic, misogynist, and also against if you are, let's say, if you become aggressive, even verbally aggressive with the disabled people. So in a way, it's a good law. I mean, it's very simple. It's a super good law, and is about rights, and is about protecting rights of all citizens, not just I mean, clusters of LGBT communities, of like mine, LGBTQI, or plus, or like women or disabled people. I mean, when you have a law that is protecting the rights of minorities, so to speak. In the reality, this law is protecting all the citizens. And what's happening in our country, I'm sorry to say that, but is unbelievable. It's really unbelievable. And the comments that we got behind this picture, or behind Pierpaolo posting his support for this law, is unbelievable, and in a way is really unacceptable, because we are, again, I know we are here to talk about marketing and communication, we will do.
But I know, Alessio, that I do care that to convey Valentino not just as a fashion brand, right, but as a cultural and social voice. And
but again, this could happen just because we are feeling that sentiments, and we are standing for that values. I don't know if you can go to the next slide, because I was not in the company, but not this one, the next one. Echo, this one. I was not in the company. This is an haute couture show in Paris. It was the spring summer 2018. If I recall correctly, that year, the Time, the famous American magazine, listed Pierpaolo as one of the most 100 influential men or women and person on the planet. And this show has been a reflection of his own personal value about what he feels related to inclusivity, equality, diversity, and etc., etc. He went through the history of fashion, and he discovered that two of the most important black culture magazines from United States, Ebony, and if I recall correctly, the other one was Essence. They were not able back in the days, but if I recall correctly, even in the 80s, they were not able to shoot anything coming from haute couture collection. They were obliged and forced to buy haute couture gowns if they wanted to publish haute couture gowns in their publications, and they were amazing publications and in North America, and that happened just 30 or 40 years ago. So it's quite recent, so if you strongly believe, and if your company, because your company in a way is a reflection of your values, that equality is at the base of everything that we are doing among us in the corridors, when we're having meetings, where we are dealing with people. I mean, it's coming organically, deciding to run a haute couture show, and in a way deciding to have 80% of the models that they were black. It was pretty clear as a message, not even a need to write one single note about the fact that we need to stand for what we think. And again, obviously, sometimes you need to be a little bit more vocal, especially when there are rights that are not took for granted. And but at some point, you have constantly to bring to the attention of the world what you're doing without announcing that in a way. I don't know if this makes any sense to you, but sometimes when you said that sometimes you don't understand if fashion companies are doing things for marketing or because they believe it. The reality is that if you keep doing and if you keep building on your values, I mean, it's they are there to see. I mean,
yeah, and Alessio, it makes sense, and it helped me also to understand, because with the Black Lives Matter, I think you can confirm that last year everyone at a certain point, out of the blue, were involving black models, right? Even brands that actually they were using just white models. And now that I listening to this ante litteram, let's say, black models sincere involvement from Pierpaolo, I see Valentino in a different way. I'm honest, because I see it's not the marketing at all, but they did it like 3-4 years ago because Pierpaolo really wanted to do that. And then it happened, right, Alessio, with the Black Lives Matter.
Again, I think, again, it's
natural.
Companies are made by people. People are made by values, and you decide which are the values that you want to embed in the place where you are working. And I think that Pierpaolo decided to put equality, inclusion, and diversity on top of everything. And then, I mean, Jacopo and I came, other managers came, and this is where we are building our company. And again, it's important for me to transfer to this audience at least the fact that everything that you see outside is also a reflection of how we are working in-house. I mean, it's it's very simple. Nonetheless, I mean, the priority, and I would go back to what we should share with our friends today. I mean, it's producing. Again, we are not politicians. We are a fashion brand that is producing collections, that is producing accessories, haute couture, fragrances, makeup, and so on. But this is not. This is implying that as a company, we do have our own values, and we are working on that.
Mm. Yeah, and these values are, let's say, you are also a content producer, Alessio, because
yes,
you have to communicate.
Absolutely. In fact, if you want to move forward with a slide.
Yeah, also, Alessio, you are also content producer, and also you are becoming you are already a publishing house, because you know that I work for Rizzoli and I'm very jealous and all of the books that you are producing in a very excellent ways by yourself. As a,
and even in this case, Caterina, is really a matter of listening. Elsa Majimbo and her alphabet for adults and kids. I mean, or the project that we did together with Bernardina Evaristo and with Liz Johnson Arthur that you are showing right now about the Valentino Collezione Milano. As I said at the beginning, my job is connecting dots, but is more importantly listening. Pierpaolo is really into books. He's really reading a lot, especially poems, but I mean, and photography. I mean, he's collecting and he's reading a lot. So in that case, again, I don't want to repeat myself, but if you reflect what you're believing, we decided to produce this content because I mean, Elsa is a good friend. We were already working with her on some activities on our social media, and then she shared this idea of doing this book, and we said, okay, we could become a publisher, like. Sorry to jump on another topic, but it's like the Vlogo book. I mean,
I also got the posters. I went to the newsstand in Milano. I bought it, so there was a nice gesture of the newsstand owner with the white gloves. The students already know that case study because I explained them the Vlogo.
Do you agree with me that if you put the word romanticism in all these books, they are all connected, even in the Bethany one? Because I mean, sex is something that is related to romanticism, period. I mean, otherwise we are making something that is positive, negative, and there is nothing negative about sex and sexiness. So, and
correct, Alessio. And connecting the dots and speaking about people, while working with you for this Rizzoli book, I had the nice chance to work and meet Riccardo Zanola, that is your art director. And I was impressed because he is 26, 70, he's killing me, 26, almost 27 years old.
I think he's 25.
No,
Almost.
2 minutes ago, he told me 26,
okay, so
almost 27. And believe me that at Rizzoli, quite an historical company, we were all impressed. Caterina is real this, so in a nice way. And I know that Alessio, you decided to involve Riccardo in Valentino. So another, let's say,
I introduced him to Pierpaolo because I mean in the reality that Riccardo is working much more with Pierpaolo directly than with me. I manage the budget in that case, and I'm trying to keep the creative ideas under control. But I mean, it's my role is first of all and foremost is empowering creativity. But yes, I met Riccardo accidentally once while he was in London, and then I discovered by Jefferson Hack, who used to work at Days Group, that he decided to leave London because of the pandemic, and so I approached him and I said, okay, would you like to have an interview with Pierpaolo because he's looking for an art director? And he was and he is extraordinarily young, and that is just something positive. I mean, Miuccia Prada and Patrizio Bertelli gave me a huge chance alongside with my former bosses Antonella Di Marco and Tommaso Galli. They gave me a huge chance when I was at Prada to become a dirigente, as we said in Italy,
manager,
an executive, a top manager, as translating in English. And when I was 27 or 28.
Wow.
Yeah,
because Alessio, I was about to ask about your age because you did
so
many things in short time. That for sure you are an enfant prodige.
No, I'm not an enfant prodige, and I will never share my age.
Okay. I don't want to share my age as well. But Alessio, Riccardo for me was a nice symbol of the openness of the brand again, to be very open-minded, to embrace young people. And it's very rare in Italy to, maybe it happened to you at Prada, but usually in Italian companies, quite rare to find so young people at very important responsibility.
Again, and I'm thinking that your students will hate me because
no, they want to apply. You will receive a lot of applications.
I'm keeping repeating the same things. It's again, you have to reflect what you are standing for in what you are doing, even if you are a top executive. So why, if they gave me the possibility to prove that I could be responsible at 27, 28, why I should not do the same? I mean, my teams are, even at Gucci or at Zegna, they're always super young. But just because again, you need to give everybody the possibility to express themselves professionally wise, and you need to give the chance to do mistake and to learn by mistakes, and to grow up professionally wise. If you don't give this opportunity, there is something, in my opinion, wrong in the way you are managing your teams.
And on the other hand, Alessio, I think that you are not, let's say, giving value also to older people, right? You promote young people as well, as age is not a judgment.
Absolutely. Age is not, I mean, first of all, age is just a state of mind. For myself, So I believe that is a state of mind for everybody. Yeah, I'm just saying that again, it comes again to equality. You need to give the same opportunities to professionals, no matter about their age. I mean, because you could have a 78-year-old manager that is perfect. At the same time, you could have a 21-year-old top manager, and you have to understand the skills, the soft skills and the hard skills that these managers can put in place, and then you decide who's the best one.
Yeah, correct. I'm happy that you say that, because age is becoming quite the anxiety for everyone. If you are too young, if you are too old, right? So it has not to be a matter of...
No, it's never been, and it will never be, in my opinion. But again, I think that especially at the very beginning of the career of the people, there is a kind of sometimes I don't want to say discrimination, but perplexity about giving opportunities to young people because maybe they do not have enough experience, which is the truth, more or less.
But maybe they have something else, and a fresh eye, right? More courage.
They can challenge you.
Yeah.
They can, I mean, my teams are challenging me every day, and they are, again, there is no age cluster or in my teams.
Yeah, for example, Alessio, last night you also debuted on Clubhouse. You had your first conference with Bethany Vernon and Diane Pernet. So you are one of the first fashion brands to go on Clubhouse, and you were telling me that again, were your young collaborator to tell you, let's try Clubhouse, right?
See. No, that's true. But at the same time, it's something that it has been shared through the teams that again they are very diverse, and then we decided, okay, let's go for this because it could be really nice
But you are not yet on TikTok. You are coming
on purpose, in the sense that we are still studying, and nothing to be ashamed confessing that with Eleonora and all the people working in my social media area, we are still studying the channel, because when again, this is something that we have learned from both Jacopo and Pierpaolo. You have to bring yourself and your brand and what you would like to do, respecting the place where you are. So the reason why, for instance, we decided to create a campaign which is pretty famous already. We're working with famous writers like Ilsa Ward, Ocean Wong, Janet Mock, Lisa Taddeo, Donna Tartt, and etc. That's the previous slide. And this campaign, let's say, came up always because I mean, the urgency of our creative director to transfer his feeling about in time and his own creative vision. And so in this case is a campaign that is based on wording without any visual, and could suggest you the feeling of Valentino without showing Valentino through pictures, videos, and so on. And we decided to advertise this campaign just in specific magazines. So we went on the New Yorker. In Italy, we decided to advertise, if I recall correctly, just few niche titles, including Flash Art and Rivista Studio. And I think that we have published the campaign, we have advertised the campaign in other literature magazine in France and in Japan as well. So, and we have been respectful of the place where we have advertised the campaign. And this is the reason why we are not yet on TikTok. We are studying the channel, and we want to be there, respecting the lexicon of the channel and bringing that kind of lexicon to Valentino, and not trying to dictate, as usually fashion used to do in the 90s, perhaps, trying to dictate, okay, this is my campaign, this is my statement, and I'm gonna cascade that visual everywhere. Let's say that we are a little bit more fluid in that, but again, all the assets are related to the same collection, to the same creativity, and they are just talking a Valentino language accordingly to the place where we are.
Yeah. Yes, otherwise it doesn't make sense to go to TikTok just because there is TikTok if it doesn't represent Valentino, respect the tool, right?
It's not going to be successful for not for them, and for sure not for us, because you have to find your own way. And when it, like, I mean, nothing to be ashamed to mention a competitor. I think that, for instance, Moncler, they did an amazing job in their TikTok debut.
Yeah. I didn't see it. I'm following Balenciaga, that is very fast and fun, but I will check Moncler out. And I'm following Dolce & Gabbana, that also was quite one of the first one to use it. And we already, Alessio, talked about the Vlogo book that
we're going to publish the second edition in July.
In July. Okay, I want to book the book, to reserve a copy, or let me know where
and again, this is another idea came from Pierpaolo that I felt in love immediately, perhaps because I'm an old fox in this industry, and he came up with the idea, okay, why don't we ask to the major and most important
magazine
niche title, fashion niche titles all around the world to shoot a sort of fake campaign about our Vlogo signature items, and we give them carte blanche. They can do whatever they want without any kind of censorship, and then they're gonna publish this advertising campaign in their own magazine. Then we have collected them in a book, and we have partnered with a series of bookstores all around the world in order to distribute them.
No, Alessio, actually they were not bookstores, because I study very well what you did.
Yeah.
I was very and said, oh, come on, what should we do as a Rizzoli that we have a network of bookstores? You broke up the distribution of regular books, and actually you choose to be sold in just 3-4 selected newsstands in the world. So
there were more than 3 too, because we had one in Milano, one in London, one in Paris, one in New York, one in Tokyo. Yeah, we had, but we decided again, because one of the company value is definitely giving back on working on closely.
Milano.
Yeah, closely with the territory where we are. We decided to empower newsstands, I mean, let's say historical newsstands in key cities. And we selected place that we could collaborate and work with. We have personalized the newsstand, and it has been really fun, and I can't wait to do the new project.
It was very good for them, because I went to this newsstand in Corso Genova in Milano, and I asked, I'm a journalist, so how are the sale going? I investigating, and they were very happy. The sale were very good, and you give them visibility.
Exactly. And we will do the same this year with the second book.
I'm very curious. And so, Alessio, another project that you did in Shanghai, and then there is the part about the fashion shows, and then we have the question from the students.
I think that, I mean, I can go very fast here. I mean, this is an exhibition that we have produced last year. It's called Valentino Resignify, and is basically a desire of our creative director of bringing some iconic codes from the Valentino archive to the nowadays. Pierpaolo Piccioli is a kind of goldfish, a rare goldfish in the fashion industry, because the archive of Valentino is part of his blood. He's working in Valentino since ever. He has been hired by Mr. Valentino Garavani, and then he became creative director alongside with Maria Grazia Chiuri. Back in the days, I don't recall exactly when it happened, and recently, a few years ago, he became a solo creative director when Maria Grazia Chiuri went to Dior. So it doesn't really need to walk through the archive to know what Valentino Garavani did. The archive is part of his vision, and he decided to, let's say, to put a different light perspective on the archive with this project that we have produced in China only, because it was the only country open at that moment in time. And the idea is create a kind of connections, even here connecting the dots between what he did, or what Mr. Valentino Garavani did, with contemporary artists and actual vision. So it's a kind of dialogue between photography and movies in this case, in this project, and the objects and the outfits that Valentino Garavani and Pierpaolo Piccioli designed back in the days. I think that we can go to the quickly, because I want to listen to the question. I'm very curious.
Yeah, we have fashion show, maybe a video.
Yes.
Let's see.
Unoccupied history. Unoccupied history. Unoccupied history. Unoccupied history. Bring on me, you're so close. Your light runs deep, so.
Oh, sorry. But Alessio,
That's okay. No, that's okay. I just I think that we can, if you can project also the video of Code Temporal, and then I can
should be
can
this.
say something very quickly.
Yeah, and also Alessio, I'm curious about your next fashion show in Venice. This one.
You can stop. I mean, that's okay. This is the final project that Robert Del Naya from Massive Attack did for us with the latest couture collection that we presented in Roma at Palazzo Colonna, called Code Temporal. And the previous one was the haute couture collection that we presented still in Roma at Cinecittà in July 2020 with the soundtrack of FK Twigs. And I think that I joined the company during the pandemic, but what, in my opinion, what happened, and is pretty understandable, is that a creative mind like Pierpaolo has been affected like everybody from the pandemic, but creative minds are strongly reacting sometimes. And for Pierpaolo, it was there is a sentence that we are using among our teams that there is no plan B, there are only plans A, triple A. So, and we are used to joke about that because we have been obliged and forced to reschedule everything, always, to change location for fashion shows, having people in person, not having people, deciding at the last second, and so on. But I think that we are one of the few brands that they have always produced live fashion shows. I mean, maybe it's outdated, maybe it's old-fashioned, but Pierpaolo is very keen to feel the energy of the people, even if the people are not there. But if this fashion show, Côte Temporale, was live streamed from Rome, I mean, nobody was there, but we were live as well as during the presentation of the Pret-a-Porter in Milano with the art collection, when Cosima performed Nothing Compares to You in an empty theater. We had 14 Italian fashion reviewers in the balcony, and that's all. In Rome at Côte Temporale, we had a total of 20 last year, a total of 25 reviewers coming from Europe, and we have always been live, which is important because, I mean, he wants to feel the energies, he wants to feel the vibe, he wants to feel the risk of doing some mistakes. And I realized when during our interviews that another creative obsession for Pierpaolo is music, and so we decided together, but he decided that, and I think it's pretty understandable even from last year, that basically all our soundtracks are performances. We had FK Twigs performing, we had Massive Attack performing and creating our own soundtrack. We will have another performance in Venice. I really would like to tell you more about Venice. I cannot. The only thing that I can share here today is that is a huge project that Pierpaolo and his own team is a huge idea behind the next haute couture collection that Pierpaolo and the team are developing since October 2020. So even before the Côte Temporale collection. The collection is called Des Ateliers, and he will be presented in Venice in a specific location, and the collection has been conceived and taught by Pierpaolo to be there. And,
so Alessio, when is the day?
It's July 15 at 7:30 p.m. Central European time.
So are you going to stream it on Instagram?
Live stream, as always.
Okay, we will be there. We will be virtually there. And Alessio, if you agree, I would like just to show Cosima for a minute to finish up, and I let you the word to Gianfranco Livotto that knows you and the students. Alessio, thank you very much from my side, personally and professionally, because for me was is an honor and also a way for me to learn through you. And also, I think that you and your team and Valentino, with Pierpaolo, you are really the protagonist, able to feel the sentiment of today. So I try to be updated, and I think you guys are the one very always, can we say, sul pezzo, come si dice?
On it.
On it. So congratulations for this.
Thank you. And again, it's an art job. You have to study a lot and you have to learn a lot, but at the same time, it could really, it's really giving, at least it's giving to me the possibility of expressing my passion through working with super creative people like Pierpaolo, Jacopo, and all the people working in my teams.
And you give us always emotion, because we will see this with Cosima. I remember in February, the Côte Temporale was very massive. Grazie Alessio. And
grazie.
It's been 7 hours and 50 days since you took your love away. I go out every night and sleep all day.
Okay, thank you so much. I hope to see you in person very soon.
No, grazie a tutti. Thanks everybody, and it has been a great pleasure and an opportunity. I mean, being here today.